One. Okay, balik. 1, 2, 3, go!
Hi everyone, welcome to
The Vast Space!
your new favorite corner of the internet. I'm Chloe.
I'm Chelsea.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Chrislyn. Gusto na na sila itong tong chair ba? Tong chair!
Oh, today.
Dili na ito sa gina?
Oo.
Dili. Kami, alam mo, ang kami ni Chloe na change. Sige, go.
Ano na lang?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, action.
Hi everyone, welcome to
The Vast Space!
your new favorite corner of the internet. I'm Chloe.
I'm Chelsea.
I'm Casey.
I'm Chrislyn.
So on today's episode, we will be discussing how social media is truly a powerful influence and but like
There is a surprise.
So on today's episode, where we will be diving into one of the most pressing issues of our time, social media's powerful influence and the spread of misinformation.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Serious, back to 1. 1,
Okay,
2, 3, go!
Hi everyone, welcome to
The Vast Space!
your new favorite corner of the internet. I'm Chloe.
I'm Chelsea.
I'm Casey.
I'm Chrislyn.
So for today's episode, we will be diving into one of the most pressing issues of our time. So it's social media's powerful influence and the spread of misinformation. So we will explore real-world case studies that allow us to reflect and understand how pressing these concerns are.
But before we dive into that, we want to tell you a little background about our group name and why we are called the Vast Space. So we use space, specifically outer space, and its metaphor about its vastness to relate to our topic, which is social media. So if we relate outer space to social media, the internet space, it's the same. It has the same depth, the same vastness. I'm not saying specifically the same, but the thought of it, that it's vast and there are many possibilities that can happen. And as you can see from the word space, its last letters are C and E, which stands for
Civil Engineering.
That is all.
Yeah, because that's our course. Right?
Yes.
Civil engineering students.
Yes. So for today, we're diving into something that's part of our everyday lives, the social media. We're focusing on how it influences us and how misinformation spreads across platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and X, where content is shaped by algorithms and influencers. The issue is that false misinformation spreads fast. One viral post can mislead the public or spark unnecessary panic. So social media has a real world impact. It influences how people think, vote, and even respond to issues. And when misinformation enters the mix, that impact can become harmful. So that's why it's important to understand how these platforms affect our beliefs and what tools we can use to analyze the impacts.
So here are the 5 key problems related to the spread of misinformation on social media.
So the
Number
first,
Rapid and widespread dissemination. Misinformation spreads significantly faster, deeper, more broadly than the true information on social media. This is often because that it is
Oh,
again.
again.
Balik ka sakto here, 5. Yung ginex, wala pa siya naman.
Ha?
Yung ginex, wala pa siya naman.
Dala ko na bantayan.
sensitive one.
Sige. So, balik sa first.
1, 2, 3.
So, first,
The rapid and widespread dissemination.
Wait, isa. Ito sa kat. Guys, wala pa mo nagawin atong first, atong angle. Wala mo nakawid, ana. Okay, ana.
ako.
Galing
Hindi na lang si Kawid.
Sa angle.
Hindi ba na angle?
Ayaw ba?
Kanina, magagawin. Sige, 1, 2, 3, go.
First.
Rapid and widespread dissemination. Misinformation spreads significantly faster, deeper, and more broadly than true information on social media. This is often due to its novelty and emotional resonance, which algorithms prioritize for engagement, creating viral loops that quickly reach vast audiences.
Second.
Erosion of trust in institutions rather. The constant exposure to conflicting or false narratives undermines public trust in credible news organizations, scientific bodies, and government institutions, leading to confusion and a more polarized public that struggles to discern reliable information.
So,
Third.
Negative impacts on public health. Health-related misinformation directly influences individuals' health behaviors, such as vaccine hesitancy, contributing to
2.
outbreaks of preventable diseases and hindering crucial public health efforts during crisis, sometimes with fatal consequences.
Okay.
okay.
Fourth. Anyway, political polarization and undermining democracy. Misinformation exacerbates political divides, reinforces echo chambers, and can be used to manipulate public opinion, potentially influencing elections and eroding democratic processes by fostering distrust and division.
5.
Fifth harmony. Challenges in detection and mitigation, including cognitive biases. Identifying misinformation is complex due to various forms, especially deepfakes and false contexts. And human cognitive biases like confirmation bias makes individuals more susceptible to believing and sharing unverified content that aligns with their existing views and hindering corrective efforts.
Okay. That's thank you for sharing that, insightful insights and ideas, right?
Yes.
Now, guys, it's easy to think that online behavior is random, but actually it has patterns behind it. And those patterns can be studied using mathematical models, including something that is familiar to us,
Yes.
which is
Differential
equations.
equations.
Yes. Now, differential equations help explain how things change over time, like how false information or misinformation. Bleh! Isabel, tignan ko ay. Hindi na.
Pwede na.
Ito ko na lang yung panay. Pwede na ba, sir? Iwan. Okay.
Dito na siya sa...
At sa phone na lang. Sa phone na lang. Ito na ang phone dali. Ay, naman, ikuan pa. Pero nag-continue. Okay. Sige, so. Ay lang po sa video. Okay, thank you for sharing those very informative insights, Casey, and ideas, right guys?
Yes.
Yes. Now, guys that it's easy to think that online behavior is just random, but actually it has patterns behind it. And those patterns can be studied using mathematical models. Some including something that we are familiar and we've learned in class, which is
Differential equations.
yes, that's right. Now, differential equations actually help explain how things change over time. And like how false misinformation or how fast misinformation spreads or dies down online. And of course, they're not the only method or tool that you researchers use. They also used statistics, simulations,
Yes.
and network models to make sense of online behavior. Now, to make sense of how this all things come together, we looked at a few case studies, real world case studies, I mean, that apply these models to social media. So let's start with the first one with my partner over there.
Chloe. So for our first case study, so it looks at the viral spread of the hashtag DC Blackout on Twitter during 2020 Black Lives Matter protests. So false tweets were claimed, and there was a full communication blackout in Washington D.C. But of course, it was not true.
Yeah.
And then
And then, oh my God!
balik.
Akong utok eh, maragwa na do. Wala na akong utok.
It's okay, balik. So basically, so for our first case study, we will be discussing on the viral spread of the hashtag DC Blackout on Twitter on 2020 during the Black Lives Matter protest.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes. Yes. So anyways, there were a lot of false tweets that claimed that there was a full communication blackout on Washington DC, which wasn't true. But it still trended fast and it caused a lot of panic for everybody. And so after that, so basically the researchers aim to understand how this kind of digital misinformation behaves by treating it like a disease.
Disease.
Yeah, grabe kayo.
So from misinformation to disease.
Yes. So they used a real epidemiological model to trace its spread across Twitter networks, showing that how users react, whether they believed it, ignored it, or shared it. So the study responds to the real-world challenge of misinformation, especially during politically tense times. So what makes this study stand out is the use of the CEIZ model or SEIS model, which stands for susceptible, exposed, infected, and skeptic. So each Twitter was treated like someone in a population facing an outbreak. Susceptible users hadn't seen the misinformation. Exposed users hadn't seen it but weren't sure yet. Infected users shared it and skeptics saw it but then spread it. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
So this DE-based model allowed the researchers to simulate the real-time flow of users between those categories. So it even let them predict how many people would share the hashtag, how long they took to decide, and whether users reacted because they saw the tweet directly or came across it on the platforms.
Oh, okay.
So
Now,
moving on.
yes. Now, for that model, so to apply that model, the researchers gathered almost 28,000 tweets using the hashtag from July 1 to July 4, 2020 that year. And they used MATLAB. Okay, they used MATLAB to fit the SEIZ model to the tweet data and adjusting parameters like how quickly users move from being exposed to actually posting the tweets. The downside of this model is that it assumes that everybody behaves similarly. That everyone behaves the same, which is not true because it ignores their personal beliefs and the influence levels. And also, it only looked at Twitter. I mean,
Okay.
so not Facebook and other online platforms, which also the limitations of the case study. And also the model doesn't pwede na ako balikod, guys.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay ra, sorry na.
Yeah.
Sure mo, okay ra.
Okay ra,
Kami na.
1, 2, 3. Okay, so to apply the model, the researchers gathered almost 28,000 tweets using the same hashtag from July 1 to July 4 of that same year. And also, they used MATLAB to fit the SEIZ model to the tweet data. and adjusting parameters like how quickly users move from being exposed to it to posting the tweets. And the downside of the model is that it assumes everyone behaves the same, which is not the case. And yeah, in responding to the tweets, which ignores their personal beliefs and also their influence levels, and it only look at Twitter, not Facebook, Instagram, and other online platforms. Now the model doesn't capture platform. Are you? Tingnan ko, ulit tayo.
Wala pa.
Okay.
Wala 30
The
minutes.
model.
Oh my gosh.
Sige na, the model.
The model.
The model na?
Pwede na pala.
The downside of this model na.
Okay, actually post. Ikat to mo.
Mm.
Pwede ka na lang, angle na lang. Ito lang dito na lang na angle.
Pwede.
Ito na lang behind to sa solutions.
Pwede.
Ang solution na lang ko, okay. Hindi na lang ko solution na i-back to So cut ko ito din, back to niya.
Oo.
Okay ra, okay ra?
Pag umana ito, kato na yung dito.
Then ano, okay. 1, 2, 3, action. But despite its limits, the model worked really well. It actually mirrored. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
One, two, three, go.
Cut. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go. Yes, so like that. However, wait up. Okay,
Kato na lang pala may
Is that 1, 2, 1? Despite 1, 2, 3, but despite its limits, the model worked really well. It actually mirrored the rise in tweets and helped determine that most users didn't spread misinformation, which is actually a good sign because they took time to decide and not just react on impulse.
Yes. So basically, it's think before you share.
Yeah.
Yes. So now that we've seen how misinformation spreads, let's shift to how social media can also shape political views that push back against it.
But before we proceed to how social media can also shape political views that push back against it, it's actually fascinating to know that in our first case study, which is about the hashtag DC
Black Lives Matter.
Anyways, so
it's actually fascinating that researchers used a disease model to show how
Yeah.
misinformation can spread like a virus. I think it's coincidental because in 2020 it was the peak of coronavirus, right?
yes,
Yes.
That's true.
So let's dive into the local case study since we're done with our
International.
case study.
So the second case study actually explores how social media influences the political attitudes of senior high school students, particularly in their ability to identify and respond to misinformation. So this study was conducted among 160 students from Felix Amante Senior High School. So the researchers found that the features of social media platforms and frequent exposure to political content significantly shape how students perceive and engage with political issues. This study also addresses the real world problem of digital misinformation. So it's especially here in the Philippines, so where social media is a primary source of political information for youth. It highlights the urgent need for media literacy education to help young people critically evaluate online content and develop informed, responsible civic attitudes.
So what is the model and what is the method? It's actually stated here that it applied a descriptive correlational statistical model based on survey data to analyze the relationship between social media and use of political attitudes. So it influenced students' responses to misinformation. These insights can inform educational strategies and predict potential trends in political engagement, guiding interventions like media literacy programs.
Mm-mm.
So, this study actually used a descriptive correlational method through validated surveys. Like what I said earlier, it involved statistical analysis of responses from 160 senior high students to examine the relationship between the social media use and the political attitudes. So, this study assumes survey answers reflect true attitudes, though they may miss deeper biases. Its accuracy is limited by self-reporting, a narrow sample, and the absence of predictive or DE models. Ethical concerns also includes protecting student privacy and avoiding political bias.
So the model helped highlight how specific social media behaviors influence students' ability to counter misinformation. By revealing these patterns, it supports the development of targeted media literacy
Yeah.
programs to strengthen critical thinking and responsible political engagement among youth like us.
Yes. Cut. Yung kapay kayo, sir, kayo din.
Okay na to.
Sige, sige,
Sige na,
ako.
sige na.
Sige lang, okay lang.
Okay.
Third ako na.
Okay, one.
First name.
2, 3. Okay, now we've seen that, how mathematics, pwede ka to na.
Nadto na dito ba? Third case na lang na.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, action. Okay, now we've seen how mathematical models apply to individual cases. Now it's time to zoom out. Now, in this final case study, all four of us will explore a larger scenario that connects the dots and shows just how powerful social media and mathematical modeling can be in understanding social media impact.
Amazing.
Actually, naku na mali actually by okay na. Ito na lang ha.
Tanawan lang. Sige
Sa,
na.
ikaw naman ang subtitle.
Sige na. Ating yan.
Pwede ka na. So, ito na lang akong kilid.
Sige
So,
na.
1, 2, 3, go.
Okay. So this study investigates how bots and trolls spread disinformation on social networks, which are now the primary platforms for misinformation. So using system dynamic modeling, this study reveals that even a small number of bots can significantly amplify fake news by exploiting platform algorithms. So, moving on.
Din ako
Okay, again.
Okay.
Din ako, guys. Wala na akong focus.
Mali na.
It's okay.
Aha naman to.
Okay.
Baka
Bali,
ano
bali.
Kilid na lang ako.
Okay.
Ito na lang ang kilid.
So, this study investigates how bots and trolls spread disinformation on social networks, which are now the primary source of misinformation. So, using systems dynamic modeling, this study reveals that even a small number of bots can significantly amplify the fake news by exploiting platform algorithms and human sharing behavior. This raises questions about how to distinguish real news from fake news.
So, actually, this study utilized a system dynamics model with ordinary differential equations to study the dynamics of misinformation. So, user engagement and algorithmic
Side view. Here you go.
Sige. So, actually, this study utilizes a system dynamics model with ordinary differential equations to study the dynamics of misinformation, user engagement, and algorithmic amplification in social media systems. So, the model simulates the complex behavior of social media systems predicting how misinformation spreads and contributes to political polarization. So the simulations helps researchers test interventions and explore scenarios, ultimately informing platform policies and strategies to counter misinformation.
That's good. So, what are the methods, the limitations, and the challenges for this study? So, this study on social media used math to track challenges in both activity, user behavior, and content visibility over time. So, those three against time. It demonstrated how misinformation spreads quickly through feedback loops, similar to how a system reacts to input over time. However, the study faced challenges such as making assumptions about our user behavior and the lack of access to real platform data, which could make the model less accurate in real life. Additionally, modeling human behavior comes with ethical concerns such as respecting privacy and not oversimplifying how people are affected by misinformation.
No, that's right. Now, actually, the model that you discussed, guys. Now, that model helps show how Ano mo tao?
Wala ko kay Chloe.
Okay, one, two, three, go. So yeah, that's right. Now, the model that you guys discussed actually helped show how misinformation can quickly grow and cause political polarization. And even when it starts from just a few sources like the bots, by simulating how users interact and how content spreads through algorithms, the researchers were able to test the what if scenarios. Like, what happens if bot activity is reduced or if platform rules are changed? Now, this helps people better understand how online platforms work and gives ideas on how to reduce the spread of false misinformation. False information. Yeah, and making it useful for platform designers, policymakers, and even educators.
So who knew that worksheet equations would actually help explain what's going on online? Turns out they're more useful than we thought. The who thought what Sir Dale is teaching us is actually, in research. The
Yes,
so
that's
helpful.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
So, from all the case studies that we have discussed and shared from them, what realizations, learnings that can you drive from those?
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Go.
for me, what struck me the most is the first case study, which is the hashtag DC Blackout. It's because they use the model SEIZ,
Yes.
Yeah.
which
Uh-huh.
is actually surprisingly an ordinary differential equation.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
who would have thought na
Same.
something theoretical would help in our modern world society, especially on social media, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, aside from that, from the data they've collected, they use MATLAB, right?
Yes.
And from research, MATLAB is actually a algorithm that can be used for integrating and using computations rather and visualization programming into a single easy to use environment. So MATLAB actually reminds me of our topics in differential equations, which uses matrices, which is the Wronskian to determine the determinant.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the part where we used 4x4
Yeah.
Yes,
and also
yeah.
integrals. So it's
Yeah.
very nice to see that there are a lot of topics covered in this certain case study from our differential equation class.
Yes.
So it was really eye-opening to see how they could map out the spread of a post, showing exactly how fast people could go from just scrolling past something to actively hitting the share button. So that's it for me.
So, for me, the third case study was a standout because it zoomed out and used system dynamics with differential equations to simulate how bots and algorithms spread misinformation. It reminded me of how feedback loops works in systems similar to concepts in our DE class like linear ODEs and modeling change over time. I like how the researchers didn't just track tweets but explored how even a few bots could trigger a wave of fake news. So that felt like watching a chain reaction unfold, which is exactly the kind of behavior DEs helps us understand.
Okay, that's a good one. Now, for me, I didn't expect to relate to differential equations outside the classroom. Like, but seeing how they were used in real life situations really surprised me. Did you? Do you?
Yes.
You're also surprised?
Actually,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, especially
So
in
mind-blowing.
the first case study, the model, the use of SEIZ model, used ODEs to track, how fake news spreads over time. Yeah, but in some ways, nawala ko.
In some
ways.
ways, it was opening. Diyan ka.
Pwede na lang.
Imagine na
Joke lang. Sige, balik na lang. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, yeah. So for me, I didn't expect to relate to differential equations outside the classroom. Yeah, so, but seeing how they can be used or were used in real life situations really surprised me. In the first case study, the use of SEIZ model, which is based on the ODEs, were actually surprising for me, and I didn't expect it at all. And diba, they use that model to track how fake news spreads over time, but that model is actually based on ODEs. And it was eye-opening to realize that some methods we struggle in class, some methods that I struggle in class, like the separation, Laplace, MVP, ERF, and all those kind of different methods in finding ODE, where actually can be used to explain real life problems happening online or real life.
Yeah, real life.
Honestly, I still find solving D is difficult,
Yeah.
but especially with all the different methods that were introduced, but this experience made me see that the value in learning them, despite it being kind of not easy for me, it made me appreciate these more, ODEs more. And also not just ODE, but also other mathematical methods or systems. I know I need more practice in solving ODEs, but now I feel more motivated in doing so because I learned that they're not just limited in our classroom, but they can also be applied in real world.
So for me, what struck me the most was the third case study, which investigates how bots and trolls spread disinformation on social networks. It's still in it. God.
There's a bukas
Okay, go! Go!
Wait, advertisement.
Okay, tubig na.
Wait, what's the advertisement? We told her
Ano, this segment is brought to you by Jollibee.
Anyway, until then.
Sige.
So for me, what struck me the most, I wrote it down. So yeah, so the case study uses differential equations, diba? Like the first and second case study, first and third, differential equation.
Yes.
So what struck me the most is how it is able to use real world system where
Dito na lang. Dito na food.
ay bitaw na
Dito na food.
yeah, the
Dada na po.
Si Chelsea na closing.
Ay, kasi na. So, sige, 1, 2, 3, go. So, what did we learn from all of this? So, first, that misinformation is more than just wrong facts. It's a whole system, and math can help us understand how it spreads and differential equations. Something we usually see in worksheets and quizzes actually plays a huge role in modeling how fast misinformation moves online, how people react, and even how platforms can intervene.
So, excuse me. So we also saw how different kinds of models, whether it was DE, statistics, or system dynamics, can give us a different insight into how social media shapes our thoughts, our beliefs, and our politics. And the biggest takeaway, social media is truly the most powerful thing, but so is being informed on these situations, on these fake news.
Yes, that's true.
That's right.
Yes, I'm right. So anyways, understanding how these platforms operate through both technology and math gives us the power to think critically and act responsibly.
So while mathematical models are crucial in science and engineering, they also appear in surprising places like what we discussed a while ago. But now, we want you to think, our audience, to where else do mathematical models apply in real life?
Comment, guys.
Where else aside from social media?
Yes.
Yes, so imagine guys, from misinformation to math models, we've covered a lot, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and hopefully this episode showed you guys about what we learn in class can actually make sense in the real world
Yes.
of what's happening around us.
Yeah, so that's all. That's a wrap for today. Stay curious, stay kind, and we'll see you next time on the Vast Space.
Feeling fun, guys.
Kung saan?
Alden Richard.
Gusto ko question guys.
Okay.
And not question, pero more like magtatong kan kung real or fake.
Pwede. Come on.
Pero siguro delete na lang din.
Pwede rin speed up rin ako.
Sige na.
Ay, mag-ice maker pa ta kayo mag-ano, nakakantay ano po.
Pero,
Nakakantay.
Oh.
Pero di ba
The play
nakakantay,
gap,
ano?
Hmm.
No, advertisement.
Ah.
Gitna naman.